rules of power.
What are the 48 rules?
48 laws of power. 48 laws of power from
by Robert Greene.
Robert Greene. Yeah.
I have that book.
So I made
sounds like a cult.
I made flashcards with the 48 laws of power, and I made flashcards, and I cut them out, and I glued them on the flashcards,
And what, you're like studying it, trying to memorize it?
I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe trying to memorize them. I thought it'd be fun.
It's a cool book, but after I read that book, I didn't even read the whole book, but it makes you want. It makes it changes you a little bit and like how you think, because it makes you want to apply those laws into your general life. And then I noticed I started doing fucking shit I didn't. Yeah, kind of mean shit,
shitty stuff.
Not shitty shit, but like you kind of use people a little bit from that, and I don't know. It's weird, man.
Yeah.
Why? How? Explain it to me.
I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's like
Can you explain it?
just even like if somebody was coming. I remember that, like if somebody was coming over, I'd think of a reason for them to stop somewhere and get me something and bring it on the way. Something, you know what I mean?
I mean, they're vicious. They're vicious.
Like
they're total psychopaths.
That's cult shit.
Things out of
That's cult shit.
No,
No,
it's weird.
It's cult shit.
It's power. They're like power. It's
Have you ever heard of Nexium?
okay. So it's basically their rules to apply to help you succeed in life, but it's not like they're nice rules.
No,
there are some harsh rules. Like it's like
Give me one.
well, one of them is like I think rule number 1 is don't never outshine the master, which means your boss, never make your boss look bad, never look better than your boss, because although you think you're trying to impress him, what you may be actually end up doing is he may become jealous, he may become upset about it, fearful of you.
So it's like manipulation strategy.
it is.
Oh,
there's very manipulative.
There's tons of manipulation strategies.
Yeah, that's the word for it.
Yeah, definitely. There's a bunch of them.
But it is a cool book.
There's 48, a bunch of them. There's 48 of them.
Yeah.
48 manipulative laws.
That what's so funny is what's great about it is when you read it, you start seeing it not just in yourself.
And
like I definitely can see some of it in myself, and then there's some things I think, you know what, I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not harsh enough. Like I tend to forgive people that screw me over, and I in this it's like crush your enemies.
Yeah.
Not only physically but in spirit. Like don't leave one ember burning, or it will reignite the person will come back and destroy you. I mean, they're vicious laws, but I always, you know what I'm saying, that there's these little tiny things that you think, you know, like I really actually kind of need to do that, because I tend to forgive people, get
in
fucked
little
over.
pieces. I think it's good. But.
Yeah, and there's other things you notice things in other people, like you realize that's why he's doing that.
Yeah.
He's behaving like that because of this. That's law number 22 or not law number 31, and you start going, that's why. Okay, now I know what he's doing. Now I'm going to do this.
Have you ever heard of? I'll ask you again. Have you ever heard of Nexium?
I don't. I've heard the term Nexium, but I don't know. Or I don't know what it is.
It's a drug, right?
It's a cult. It was a cult run by a guy named Keith Raniere.
Oh, is this where the sweat lodge things?
No. It was it's basically a cult where they stole basically everything out of Scientology, and they stole all kinds of shit from Tony Robbins. One of the founders, they taught like all the strategies of Tony Robbins, all the shit that Scientology teaches you. Like get in there, better your life, push out all the negative influences, figure out how to work your mind and be successful. And all of their victims were super successful, wealthy people. A lot of them had money. A lot of them came from royal families. And this guy was just like, he was a crazy, super successful entrepreneur first. Like he started a Ponzi scheme, made fucking tons of money. It was not a Ponzi scheme, it was an MLM. And he got in trouble for that. He didn't go to prison for it, but he got in trouble and they had to dissolve the company. But he made millions of dollars. And like this guy was just like a hustler. And he was like a very like short, fat, awkward proportioned human being. He was like he looked like he was like Charles Manson's stature, but like fat, kind of chubby, and he was just fucking successfully driven to like make money, to like build this big company. And he created this company called Nexium, where it was all about like personal power, and it was like one person would recruit another person, just like a multi-level marketing scheme, and they would bring them in, and eventually it turned into sex trafficking. It turned into this.
Wow, that turned left quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Eventually, it was like women getting branded. He mind fucked all these people to believing that they were a part of this great thing, and
Well, so did that Scientology guy.
Yeah.
He did some fuck shit like that too.
they were branding each other. All the women were branding themselves with him and his initials. And he was like raping 12-year-olds and shit, like convincing them that was their pathway to enlightenment was to have sex with him. Like he would convince the higher ups in his company, the cult, that tell them to tell the women like, hey, if you really want to get up in this, and really like elevate yourself in NXIVM, you have to seduce Keith. This was like his plan that he would tell the higher ups to convince the lower level women. And then they would now be trying to sleep with him to like raise their status and their spiritual enlightenment. And it was just this crazy. I just watched the whole documentary on HBO. It's fucking bananas.
What's the name of it?
It's called The Vow.
The Vow.
The Vow. Yeah. And he fucking paid he paid the Dalai Lama like $1 million to have a meeting with him, and so they could videotape it and make himself look legit. And the Dalai Lama met with him, and the Dalai Lama was like questioning him. He's like, well, he's like, I don't know. He's like, a lot of people say a lot of negative things about you. You've been a part of some weird shit. And he convinced the Dalai Lama, he's like, well, don't they say the same thing about you, Mr. Lama? And like
Mr. Lama.
They say the same thing about everybody. Like
Nice.
this guy played himself off. Like he projected himself as just like this super high IQ genius of a man who was a judo master at age 12. He was like, could play the piano like Beethoven. He was a mathematician. He was a scientist. And in reality, he was none of this stuff. He just projected himself like this, and all these people were in awe of him. And he just fucking took control of all these people over all these years. And now he's in prison for life.
Would you consider him a con man?
Oh, bro, he was the definition of a con man. He was the he was the purest form of a con man you've ever seen. He ripped off everything from Scientology, from Tony Robbins, and made it look like he fucking created all of this himself. And anyways, it reminds me of that book that you were just talking about. A lot of the same kind of shit. When you introduce people to those kinds of ideas for the first time.
Well, they'll say stuff like in that book, it's like Law 31 or whatever, right. And it's like, create large scale like acts of, to make yourself seem godlike,
right.
Emphasize enthusiasm over facts or whatever, over reason, it's got all these different techniques on how to make yourself seem huge and, amazing, when in fact it's just bullshit. But it's really a lot of what you're saying right there seems very much taken right out of those laws.
And it's the same thing as Scientology as well.
No, I don't know about
and one thing they do to the women that join that company, it's like they have this relationship to where the person above you is your master and you're considered their slave. So there's this thing called collateral. So if you want to elevate in the company and make more money, you have to give them collateral, meaning you have to give them like your darkest secrets or send them like nude photos of yourself, so that if you ever come out or want to leave, they have this against you, because they're like, oh, we're giving you access to all this high level information. We need collateral from you. The same thing is like, how Scientology does the auditing. They do like those auditing sessions where you confess like your deepest, darkest secrets and thoughts and ideas and everything, and they make notes of everything, like everything from your past or whatever.
Okay.
It's the same kind of thing. It's called auditing in Scientology. This thing, it was just called, in NXIVM, it was just called collateral, where you just give them dirt on yourself, basically.
Seems like a bad idea.
But these people were brainwashed enough to do it.
I like the branding part.
Yeah,
I'm good with the branding.
Yeah.
Just brand all your women.
Yeah. I'm thinking about. Yeah, I'm definitely
thinking about doing that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about having Jess get a tattoo on her arm that says "Property of Matthew Bevan Cox."
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable. I was this close to having her talking into it the other day.
Brands are cool. Brands are cooler than tattoos.
We know a couple tattoo artists.
Yeah,
we can make
brands
this happen.
hurt.
Do they?
But at least it's all at once.
Yeah. It's over quick.
Yeah. I mean, you're
It's
gonna
not an hour session.
no. You want to
We're talking 5 seconds.
4 to 8 hours of the course of 2 weeks. Fuck that. Let's get this over with.